There's no bugs in here. These big mosquitoes in New Jersey.
Trent's favorite part is that he loves to clap before we do it.
It's my biggest contribution to the show, probably.
No,
is I just clap right at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's consistent, and it's very important.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, we are joined by an incredibly special guest, Sir Nick Faldo, 6-time major winner. He is the lead analyst for CBS's golf coverage alongside Mr. Jim Nance. We're at Borelli's Restaurant. First impressions of Borelli's Restaurant.
Right, great choice. Yeah, this is fun. I needed that. I mean, I flew up from Orlando. We had a 2-hour rain delay and all the dramas of getting across town and everything, and here I am. So I needed some, as I would say, naughty food.
Well, we fed you, and then you responded by getting us a little scotch.
Yeah, we dram, because I thought we need something to kill the germs.
I know, I appreciate that. So we are, this reminds me of when we had Monty on.
Oh, did you?
He came in with all of his Loch Lomond whiskey.
Yes.
Oh, did he really?
And we were drinking and having a good time, and it kind of loosened everybody up.
Right. Well, I'll have to get a Faldo. I'm not really a sportsman, but I could maybe get a. I wouldn't mind aligning myself to a distillery. Would be a good move. Yeah,
it's not a bad idea. So let's talk about getting knighted. How does somebody get knighted? How does that come about?
Well, technically, it's for services to golf.
Okay.
And obviously my major wins and kind of everything I've done, charitable contributions, all that sort of thing. And mine was actually 10 years ago this November. And it was an amazing day. Very emotional day. My parents couldn't handle it. You can imagine. So, I'm a young lad when you actually see my show, my specialty, I was born in a 2-up, 2-down council house, as we call it in Britain, the end of a terrace council house. My dad worked as a unqualified accountant. His first job was down at the foundry in Welling Garden City, been the accountant down there. My mum was a dressmaker. My dad apparently earned £5 a week back then. It's like whatever, you convert that into dollars, it's not a lot, is it?
Somebody will run those numbers.
Yeah, well, that's only. I'm sure there was who knows how many dollars there were to the pound way back 50 plus years ago. So we didn't have. I came into the world, so I was a lad that grew up in a little council house. We spent 11 years at that place, and I loved it. I had a normal, what you would deem as a normal childhood. I mean, I had a great back garden. I had the woods across the road, which was probably about 3 acres of woods. But when you're this high, the dark
it's like 300,
side, yeah, we were scared, to go to the far side because it was really dark down there. And you're like, oh, so it was a brave venture. And now, I could probably have a driver over the whole lot now, but who knows? But so that's how I grew up. So when you think how I grew up and how I started playing golf and everything, and if you wanted to pursue a sport in Britain or Europe, we didn't have the scholarship systems you have in America. You have to kind of leave school. So I left school at 16. I went to the practice ground and beat balls a couple of years as an amateur and went through a whole career, and climbed up. We started off with my very first year on tour. I made, well, you're like this. I don't think I made £3,000. It was £2,000 something, right? How about
Come on.
No, you look at the number. And I finished, my first goal was to finish in the top 60. That was the exempt bit of our tour in Europe.
Okay.
Well, no, it was Britain. It was Britain. It was his pre-European tour. So my first goal when I turned pro was to finish in the top 60. And I finished 58th. We're winning 2,347 quid, whatever it was. The next year, amazingly, that was 1976. 1977 was a Ryder Cup year. And I've already thought to myself, well, I want to be a Ryder Cup golfer. I want to play Ryder Cup.
Right.
And I made the Ryder Cup team, finishing, I think, about 8th or 9th on the team with about £8,743. And I made the Ryder Cup team. And I then played, which was unbelievable, because I played against Jack second day. And, Jack was the one who I watched the Masters way back. In 1971, I watched the Masters. It was Jack on TV. He didn't win. that particular one, but it was the inspiration of like, wow, golfers, what's this game of golf? Walking down these beautiful.
That's the first time you remember first kind of watching.
That's the first time I saw. Yeah, again in Britain, I'm coming up to 14. I didn't get a color TV till I was 12. I got TV when I was 8. So color TV at 12. So all these things, you imagine how this inspires you. You think, wow, all these this image, vision, and it was like, I want to try golf. So can you imagine? I've tried golf. And then only 6 years later, I'm playing against Jack in the Ryder Cup, and I beat him.
Oh my goodness!
And I beat him. Yeah. So you try that. It's just 6 years from picking up a golf club. I beat the great Jack Nicklaus in the Ryder Cup, and I remind Jack of this every time I see it. And he is the worst. He's the nicest guy in the world, but he doesn't remember any of his losses. So you go, I beat you, Jack. You go, really? I said, no, we played. No, don't stop messing about. This is me, Jack. Don't give me all that crap. We played? I said, what do you mean we played? I beat you.
It's like the biggest moment of your life, and he's like, I don't remember.
And I used to say, I beat you 2-1, and then now I looked at official books, it was 3-1. So now I beat you 3-1.
I mean, Jack Nicklaus, some of his only demons may be Sir Nick Faldo in his entire career.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's right. His only negativity in his life
that's
is me.
absolutely correct.
I thought he looked at me funny every time he sees me. He gives me that look.
Yeah.
He pretends he wants to take me fishing, but
Right.
I
He's
hope
like-
it happens. Yeah.
He's like, that Sir Nick is going to bring up that damn match.
That damn it, every time. Oh, there's not many times you can go, I beat Jack.
Right. No, you got to hang your hat on that.
Anyway, so that's well, you see, I'm bouncing around. That's my brain, but that's how I kind of got started. And so you asked about the knighting, and so you can imagine when you started and you've done 20 odd years, and then you get recognised by which is fantastic because it's our highest award, a bit like your Medal of Freedom. It's the highest award that a common man can get is be knighted. So you've got very famous ones, Elton John and Paul McCartney and Sean Connery and Sir Richard Branson, all sorts, and the ladies, of course, get their dames as well.
Right.
So to be honoured like that, considering where I came from, is quite something.
That's amazing. So, you mentioned the special a little bit. The CBS special, Sir Nick takes off the armor, I believe, 1 p.m. on Saturday, kind of prefacing the coverage of the PGA Championship. Talk to us a little about the special. Let's plug the special a little bit.
The special really is kind of going back in time, a bit of history, how I got started, all that sort of thing, as I've kind of described. And I'm now, in this new era. So I've been a golfer. Obviously, I did that for 30 odd years. I've been up in the TV tower. Wow, 15 years, 13 for CBS now, and more. She's probably got a couple more before the whole TV contracts change in another two more years after this year. But we live in this digital era, and I want to do some different things. Why not? I'm quite happy. I enjoy being a figure, and I've got so much to pass on. I've done so much for junior golf with my series, and I want to push that hard. But then for me personally, it's like, okay, because everything's done for the mega masses now. It's digital. You don't have to have anybody around you to do digital stuff. So we're actually going to try on Thursday. I'm going to do a digital golf lesson. We're going to go live, on Periscope and all sorts of things. And I'm going to give a golf lesson so I've got a couple of different subjects. So one I'm calling Formula Faldo. So I've written books called Faldo Formula. That was obviously the way I did it. But now here we are, 30 years later. We understand so much more about the physical side of how to build a golfer now. We understand the technical side way better, obviously. And then it's, of course, the mental side. Now you can...
How different is all that stuff now from when you were playing?
There wasn't any of it. We didn't... Absolutely opposite. I was a complete... We were experimenters, i.e., when we were first started, we were told don't lift weights, which made sense. How can you go around lifting a 100-pound weight and a golf, and you've got to do a little delicate little downhill left to right 6-foot putt? It kind of so you didn't. You did a lot of cardio stuff. I was very strong cardio.
Like if you get too strong, you're going to lose your touch.
Yeah, exactly. we would, and I would almost believe it. You told me that 40 years ago. You say you're right. You can't go around pounding weights around because. As we know, here we are 40 years later, we understand the science. There's guys here that have got doctor's degrees, master's degrees, and all in the kinesiology of how to build a golfer. Fantastic. So we were absolutely guessing in that era. Of course, the golf swing's completely changed. I used to hit 1,000 balls every morning. and then walk to the first tee and go and play the first hole. And I didn't know whether it was going to work or not because I was doing it all on my own. I didn't have a mirror. I just was hitting golf balls purely on ball flight and this sort of thing. Even that we didn't understand. God, if I understood more that how to read your own ball flight, to really teach yourself with ball flight. Again, we know way more about that. And of course, now we have these wonderful toys called TrackMan. And you only have to hit one golf ball and you'll get a factual feedback. It will tell you were in to out, or face was shut or open, or da-di-da-di-da.
It was amazing watching every guy today walk in with it was like a briefcase. Well,
it's 25 grand's worth of toy there. And everybody carries them in their, they carry them as a hand luggage and they don't put that off. It's a delicate bit of machinery. But it is fantastic, and I love it because I get on that, and you start trying different equipment to match your golf swing, and obviously if we've got a bit of feel and we can do things consistently enough, then we get feedback, and you're like, oh, that shaft releases that impact slightly differently. That's what I'm looking for. I either want more height. I was doing it the other day. It's so funny, and I just tried a different shaft. I come in quite steep, like 5 degrees down with my impact on irons, and so I'm always trying. I always say a little less. Yeah. Well, I changed the shaft, and suddenly it's 2 degrees. I got rid of 3 degrees because I changed. I didn't do anything different.
That was it.
So isn't that amazing? So you can build your clubs now to match you, where we used to play either with a sack of anything, sack of spanners, as I used to call it. At one time, out of 14 clubs, I had 12 different clubs in the bag. 12 different blooming clubs, because you just tried it. Oh, I like that. Right. Stick with that one. And so we adapted to the club, where now we build the club to match us. And then, of course, on the mental side, it's so much. Again, that was another era where if you ever said, I need a sports psychologist, everybody thought, he's gone loco, he's done. And it was deemed a negative. Now if you say, this is part of my team, I've got a physical trainer, I've got a coach, and I've got a sports psychologist, people go, watch out for him.
He's got his shit together.
Exactly. So he's got his stuff. So that's how it really has changed. And we understand it as a science now. It's not a guess. This is factual information. So I'm going to try and break. So here, the other point of me teaching now is, next birthday is 62, don't forget, 18th of July.
We'll mark it down.
Yeah, make it. Yeah, get me
Our
something.
producer will write that down.
Good man. So, and I don't hit balls all the time. So I want what I call, what's my absolute must. When I go to the range, I go, okay, what do I need to get this bloody thing airborne? Or I want, if it gets better than that, I'm going, so how do I hit high draws? How do I hit a high phase, load? I like to maneuver the ball around, and I think, so what's the minimum I need to do, how I need to make my body to work to make this happen? And is it physical? Is it technical? Is it a mental thing to make this ball move around? And so we understand so much more. So I think I can really pass on some really good information to golfers who just, they're not athletes. They've got their day job. Whatever it is, either sitting at a desk or behind a wheel or whatever it might be, and you've got to come out and you want to get your body moving. You want to play. Everybody, fortunately, in golf wants to play better.
Right.
And you think, if I can help you, to give you cut some corners and say, guys and girls, you've got to do this. You might have to do it for a month to break it in, but I promise you, rather than looking at 1,001, because I'm not. And because we have so many different instructors out there now,
right,
and everybody's got to sell their own way of communicating golf, and I start to think, boy, are we making it complicated? So I want to bring it all the way back down to, let's call it the absolute must, to make life nice and easy, and you think you can do a few physical moves in your garage or your gym or whatever, and you think, okay, I actually starting to get my body to swing like a golfer.
Yeah, because we're the average weekend hack, right? Like we played Bethpage 2 weeks ago. We shot everything from 85 to 144.
Yeah.
So we legitimately
have no idea what we're doing.
No clue. And
so listening to like
but the question kind of becomes like, where do you start, right? Like you might go look at one instructor and he's teaching something for a PGA Tour pro, and it's like, how can I relate to that? So it's almost.
I can promise you. I can promise you. There's so much more in the physical side, where I see the good old moves, the good old over the top move, right? And it's genuinely because the leg. You're not in you're not in an athletic address position. You don't know how to get your body in a ready position at address. You make a backswing, it's a bit weak, you don't get the weight to move over, and you pull down because your arms are stronger, and then you use your arms more than probably your legs and certainly your obliques and all sorts of things. And that's why you come over the top, and it's all soft. Your legs and from below the chest down, your body's not doing enough.
Let me write all that down real quick. Hold on.
Well, yeah, but I can give you. I promise you, we'll give you some really simple core exercise and oblique exercise and a bit of quad and a bit of butt, and you go, okay, guys, you've got to get this firing, this activating. Try these moves, and it's not. And it's it's take your odd medicine ball and chuck it against a wall or do a few things. And I promise you, it's so interesting because I can feel it. I do it. Obviously, take it to another level. But I know if you did some of these things unfortunately, you've got to do it for a month. There's no shortcuts on that. You've got to do it. But if we gave you the right things, and then so suddenly when you stand over it and make a swing, go, I feel a little bit more with it today, a bit more athletic. I've got a bit more power.
Right.
That's rather than it's weak over the top. You've got to know what's causing what, and that's it. And I think that's what we can help people on. Identify what you are, what your style is. Go and do a few of these exercises, a couple of swing thoughts, and it can be simple things of understanding what the shoulders do and how it affects the plane of the club. And again, and then even sports a little bit of sub-psychology. I guarantee you guys walk to the tee and you go, don't hit it in the trees.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do you see?
If
I say don't hit it in the trees.
If
I say don't hit it in the trees.
Trees 10,000 feet wide.
We're in a forest. We're just playing golf in a forest.
There you go. So we got to change that picture for you. It's all about pictures. It's all about memories. It's all about, attaching emotion to memories, all that sort of thing. So you learn to break the little pattern. So hopefully you come out one day and you go, okay, there's the fairway. I can see the trees. Yes, I know the trees are there, but I want to go down the fairway. And now I've got my new Nick Faldo swing, and it's going to plonk
I want a new Nick Faldo swing.
There you go.
You have now made me a believer that I am going to be a good golfer.
Let's just all get Nick
I
Faldo
swear.
swing.
I am going to do. I tell you right now, I'm going to do whatever it takes to have a Nick Faldo swing.
Yeah, good man.
I'm going to do
good
whatever
man.
it takes.
Tune in. We got one viewer.
I mean, I'm it. I'm 100% it.
Cha-ching.
We're off and running.
So
if I can get 1 to 2, that's a 100% increase.
Yeah. There you go.
Tell the world my viewership went up 100%.
Big numbers podcast. So you of course transitioned from, your playing days to broadcasting, the CBS with Jim Nantz. What's it like being up there with Jim Nantz?
Well, luckily we got Jim Nantz because he is unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, that's his profession. That's what he wanted to do as a kid when he was at Houston. He sat there calling, Fred Couples winning the Masters. And so these people developed this great gift of being able to talk about everything at this table and around you with Jim's great. He can talk about no hesitation, no deviation, no repetition about himself. about golf. All day long.
I see what you did there. I see.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Jim has never walked past a mirror that he doesn't like. Yeah. But no, he's a wonderful man because as I call him, he's our glue that sticks us together because we got a bunch of lunatics up there, me and Gary McCord, and we all have Ian Baker Finch and Dottie, of course, and we get carried away at times, and he has to keep us together. And you understand, people don't quite understand. I never did in life. You think 5 seconds is a really short period of time in your life. If 5 seconds, oh my God, start panicking. TV, 5 seconds is an unbelievably long amount of time. He may not even be in the room with 5 seconds to go, and I'm thinking, holy crap, where is? Especially that we've had one year at the Masters when everything went down, all the equipment went down. And we get that occasionally, very rarely. I mean, it's pretty darn good. But occasionally we get a moment where I sit there and think, people have got no idea. They press their buttons, they've got their remote, they see a picture pop up, they have no idea what happened behind that picture 3 seconds ago.
No.
And we can have all sorts going on. And but he's brilliant, and he has that unbelievable skill of just being able to ramble and talk about everything. He's an encyclopedia of golf, which is a great help as well. And, that was the job. But that was the job that, I started, which was a great start because I started with, remember, ABC were in sport. I had first contract was a 4-year contract with ABC, and that's when Mark Loomis, who was the director, put Paul Azinger and I together and thought we have a 3-man tower for the first time. Well, no, I wouldn't say the first time, but to get 2 characters like Zinger and I to kind of have a go at each other and then put Mike Tirico in the middle as our ref, and because Tirico's fantastic as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's just these
one
guys.
of the best.
Yeah, I mean we were reminiscing of the story how we first sat there next to him, and he's on his computer reading a magazine with his BlackBerry, and he was probably doing football, and then you'd sit there and look at this guy, and Loomis used to say 5, and then sure enough the picture would come up, and Mike would just look up at the pictures, and every picture would change. He'd actually preempt what was coming, and the crowds are coming in, and this is happening, and that, and they weave you along, and you sit, and both, I remember Zinger and I, our chins hit the table and thought, holy crap, this is how you do TV. So, because we sit there and go, for quite a few years before you learn to spit it out.
And he's running a whole different operation.
He's just brilliant. They got that gift of that gab, and then we come in and I've enjoyed it. I mean, to sit up there and call different times in our career, or not our career, golfers' careers, what's happening. As I was way back started when we called Tiger winning, way back at Hoylake.
Right.
When he was really in the Tiger Zen. I remember saying that he's absolutely in the golfing Zen at that particular time. And, of course, what we've been through. And, of course, hey, we just popped out the other end of probably the greatest scenes that we're ever going to see. Tiger winning 15th at Augusta.
Yeah, as a broadcaster, what's it like being up in that booth, seeing him back on top of the world? Did you ever think he would ever get to that place again?
I didn't because, I knew what happened 10 years ago in his private life. I thought, that's really going to wreck your concentration, your simple concentration of going to the range and beating balls all day long and then looking at it. Well, you didn't have a phone then. We left at 6 o'clock or something and went, well, that was a good day. I did a good, honest day's work.
Yep.
I'm pleased with myself. Great. And you went home. Now, of course, you've got a blooming phone there and you look at this. And I thought, once that concentration's broken, looking at a phone for whatever reasons. And, it's kind of right along that. And then, obviously, the stress of trying to play went into his body. That caused all sorts of injuries. And so he's fought that. And then the swing really went. The swing was not on. People. I was thinking about it because obviously I've said for years Tiger will not win another major, right? And then because people will then, and luckily after the way things happened, well, not luckily, the way things then turned around with the back fusion, the way he started to play last year, what he learned, and he was learning every week, and of course the win at Atlanta, and I've even felt the match against Rory was important because he to me really put himself in Sunday afternoon major mode, and because he goes to Augusta, and then luckily by the time he got to Augusta I thought, do you know what, if he can hang at Augusta with these guys and just bide his time, everybody gets so wound up at trying to win Augusta. It's the most nerve-wracking major to win because it's knife-edge nerves, because if you miss a green you've got to hit the perfect chip. I mean, at the Open, sure, you can miss other greens and find there's a couple of other options. You can thin it, fat it, maybe get away with something.
Yep.
But Augusta, you can't get away with anything. If you cannot chip that ball off a super difficult lie onto a circle, seriously, it's not much bigger than 2 feet, and that's the only way it will break how you intend. And then you've got to chip this thing, and it's going to break 12 feet. And then you've got to get it down inside 6 feet, and then you've got to then hold that. That's the nerve ends. That's the nerve ends.
That's all you got to do.
And that's it all, yeah. And
do that for 72 holes, you can win it.
Exactly. That's the other important thing. There's no let-up at Augusta. It's not like, once you've scared yourself, you go to the next green and you go, okay, I can't miss this one short. I can't miss it left. I can't miss it long. And I can't miss it right. Okay, good start. Right, start again. Now where am I going to hit this ball? So seriously, that's what it's like.
What is that back nine like? I mean, you won there 3 times. We watch it, right? We're huge golf fans.
Yeah.
And when the leaders go, they make it to the back nine, they're teeing off on 10 on the back nine.
You have no idea.
We get chills. I mean,
exactly,
what is it like for you guys?
Well, we have to then we've got to strike the ball perfectly, because we know that if you flinch and you pull it at 10, off it goes there, and you cannot pull it at 11. You obviously know what goes wrong at 12, and you know where you can't block it at 13, and you can't come up short of 14. You got get me. We all know all that. The great thing about the Masters, you know all the blimmin' treacherous spots, so that adds the pressure.
Right.
Because you've seen it, and you've seen guys. Everybody's done it right in front. Either you've done it, or somebody does it right in front of your nose, or you watch it on TV. Somebody's collapsed at the wrong time, or played that wrong shot at the wrong time. So you've seen all that. So, I then thought, if Tiger can hang, everybody's going to be so wound up. He knows what he's doing. And it really did unfold. I actually said it after he came off the first green on Sunday. I said, if he plays this like a marathon, if I was running a marathon, I'd run on the guy's shoulder all the way. And then if we've had a bit of power in me, I would zip in front. And I thought, yeah, that's the way to do it. Seriously, I'll let somebody else do all the heavy lifting. I thought, let everybody drag you along. If you obviously got to be good enough to shoot the same scores and be there. But it did. That's how it panned out. They hit it in the water at 12. He knew what to do. And then from then on, his real competitive juices kicked in. He hit every shot perfect on the way in. Mm-hmm. And that, for me, was amazing. So going back to what you said, so when I used to say he's not going to win, we were kind of right, because the swing he had and the mental state he was in, he was not going to win. So when people say to me, "Oh, go eat your words, Faldo, you're a Tiger hater," and I go, yeah, but hang on a minute. 5 years ago, we were actually were right. He couldn't flip the foot switch. He couldn't. Everybody said, "Oh, Tiger's going to flip the switch this week." Well, he didn't flip the switch for 10 years. And I think even more amazing is that freaking hell, after 11 years of not winning a major, I don't know how he musters up to have the bottle to really finish. He's still got to have the bottle, and then shots he then hit at 16 and even coming in the last all that back nine. You've still got to stand up and hit it. So
even the drive on 17, because he's
somebody who's prone to hit those right, or left. You've only got to tweak it a touch. You're in the trees. The other thing which was amazing, he, Thursday and Friday hit in the trees on 14, and makes 2 threes. Yep. I was on the call doing that. The one when he hit through the bloody, the window. I'm screaming. I'm saying that window left the woods, his name, and because he hits it through 15 feet, makes the putt. Unbelievable. And then of course, Saturday and Sunday really got away with it at 11, hit it in the trees, and it went all the way through to the patrons' walkway, and he makes 2 fours. So if any of that had gone wrong, clipped a tree or stymie, it would have been a different story. But that's how the synchrodestiny of a victory transpiring, isn't it? It has to go right for you, or you make it go right. So it was an incredible week. It really, we wouldn't, as I said, we will never quite see another week like that.
And the breaks, the breaks are huge. In 2013, he hits the pin, it goes in the water, he ends up losing, by 3 or 4. So you got to get the breaks on that. I do. One of my favorite, memories from the whole week was, I believe Sunday night, you tweeted out a picture of Tiger kind of alone on the golf course. Chipping.
Oh yeah, before I got there, I came in on Saturday. The Saturday before I come in, because I get a great day. I play with my son Matthew. We have our own day there where I'm allowed to, as a champion, I'm allowed to bring a guest. So I take my son, and so we have our own little day there. And we went in on Saturday night. No, it was Sunday. You're right. It was Sunday after we'd finished. We go and play the par 3. And I came back out, and we were standing. I was showing people my tower, and then Tiger comes down 9. And I thought it was really kind of, you sensed that moment. There he was there, all on his own, just him and Joey, chipping away. Only took the putter and a couple of wedges. He walked 9 holes, just chipping, just get yourself into master's mode. And it's funny, that was kind of the moment when you looked at him and thought, you never know. And that's when I tweeted that. Where will he be next Sunday night? Blimmin' hell, he was last one off the golf course.
To be honest, when that tweet came across our timeline, we all went, "Oh, you see Sir Nick's tweet?" Yeah,
I got something like, yes, you kind of sense something. You kind of sense it was the perfect timing for him as well. If he's going to win majors, he's just got to stay mega fit in April. Right. I'm not sure about the other ones. This one this week on this golf course, you cannot hit it in the thick stuff at all. You hit it in the thick stuff, you have to play great to make 5s, actually make bogeys. You have to play really smart to make a bogey here. And when I played here, whatever it was, moons ago, I made that my rule, my goal. If I hit it in the thick stuff, I chopped it out, and I said, right, just play for a bogey now. Just be smart. And I'd hit it in the middle of the green, and I lucked out a few times. I hold a few 20, 25 footers for par. But if you go for it on the third, because then you miss the green, chip back, miss it again, 6s and 7s, and you think, all it was one bad shot. Right. So you've got to be really smart just to take your medicine and move on. And I think that's the way the guys are describing the golf course this week as well.
So being up in the booth, what's like the biggest blooper you've ever had?
Oh gosh, I don't. Fortunately, I haven't had. Obviously, none of them really register. I've really made a conscious effort.
It's like a Nicholas movie. You don't remember?
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember
the wins.
I don't remember. I'm sure I've had you say the odd close thing because everything in golf can be a innuendo, can't it? So you have to be very careful on that. But I made a strict rule when I went up there. I don't understand politics. I don't understand religion at all. And I said, I'm not going to get involved with any of that. I'm just going to go out and talk golf. Keep it on the straight and narrow. And I've kind of done that. And I thought I like to jest with the guys. Some guys I don't know, and some people might think I'm taking the Mickey out of them, but I deem it more as an affectionate way of, if I start teasing with somebody, even if I don't, it's because I like them.
Right.
I like to think of it. I do think of it that way. I like to rib them a bit, and sometimes these poor petals, these emotional petals, are having a rough day.
They're just soft. Some of them are soft.
Some
what
are
is that?
soft,
What's that
little
word?
delicate.
A petal?
Delicate
soft.
petal.
Soft. Oh,
The
way you say that.
So I just try to. And I try to get up there and entertain. The other important thing to remember is the show. So get up there and entertain. I mean, if I can entertain myself for 4 hours,
right?
That's number one. I'm an only child. I'm selfish. If I can entertain myself, and then hopefully and the feedback I get from the fans, the public, is fantastic. Everybody comes up and says, I watched you play as a golfer. You were all right. Well, you're all right in the tower as well. Not bad.
That's what they say.
Compliments.
Were there any little things that you did? You were a fierce competitor. Any little things you would do during a round to try to gain an edge on your competitors?
The only way I believed of gaining the edge, and it's funny, somebody was talking about, I used to like to send the message that I'm all right, mate. So I used to stand and fold my arms, cross my arms, which apparently, some people could be intimidated about it, especially club golf, especially when I do pro-ams or exhibitions. I stand on the tee right next to them and I cross my arms and stand and look at them, and I can see their hands going so I know I've still got that effect. So, but some of the pros, obviously,
you're like, I still got it.
Still got it, yeah. And but back in the golfing day, it was like you had to send the message that, hey, I could handle this. I'm all right under this pressure. Inside I might be churning, but you had to give that. You had to put that performance face on and pretend, if you had to pretend, that I can handle this, and that's how I wanted to do it. And you need, with golf, you have to have so much concentration and discipline and do your own thing.
Right.
You got to stay with it. You got to stay. And I believe the only way to play golf was to be totally engrossed in it. Really be concentrating on yourself, and. That kind of forged people having a perception of me that I was like that all the time. That he must be a right miserable git. That all he does is head down and hit golf balls. So, but no, I never could. Obviously, then some people think I've invented this personality 20 years later. And it was kind of like, no, I believed the only way to play was head down, blinkers on, and I did that. And I wish, I agree. I have a very enviable quality, being able to concentrate that hard. Some people will say, it wrecks your personal life or whatever, but no. But I wish I'd been able to have more fun, but I didn't know how. Because if I've got that mental strength, I could have been able to bounce in and out, interact with the crowd a bit more, and then when you get to the golf bag, you hit that mental start button and off you go. But I struggled with that.
Was there any one moment that stands out where the most nervous you've ever been on the golf course?
Yeah. Ryder Cup really winds you up because you're playing for the guys and the team. And I've had a couple of them. A guy wasn't playing well at Kiwa Island. Couldn't find it. Couldn't find it, and I had to play. And I think I asked to be first off. I wanted to be first off to get out there and get on with it. And I couldn't sleep that night. I was up at 4:00. There are brutal weeks. Those weeks, you're playing 36 holes. You literally just golf, eat, sleep, golf, eat. That's all you do.
Right.
So that one I was really nervous because I knew the importance of that. And then the one at Oak Hill was one I do describe. When I played Curtis Strange, our match ended up being like the 11th match. And I was 1 down with 2 to play. And if I turned that around, it basically gave us the cushion to win the Ryder Cup. And I came down that last hole, and I got that 93-yard wedge shot as my third. And as I dressed the ball, my knees honestly went doing. They went like rubber. They went whang. I went, I haven't felt that before. And luckily you were able to walk away from it and collect yourself because you know what you're doing, calm yourself down, have another practice swing, reset your focus, and stood up and hit a great shot. But Ryder Cup's the one that, it was the first time my stomach churned. When I played my very first Ryder Cup, my first time my stomach churned for all 18 holes.
Wow,
really it's quite something.
In your prime, how far did your stock 7-iron go?
Yeah, good. We were probably only stock 7-irons, be around 160. Yeah, really would 160. I was tweeting Brooks Koepka's 7-iron, saying he's 3/4. I'm 2 clubs behind his 3/4 7-iron.
So we just had him on. What did he say? His
he said
stock
200.
Yeah,
7-iron, stock 7-iron. But he said
I got it on my phone. I even took a picture of it. I even took, it's, what do you call that? Freeze frame, whatever they call that blooming thing. I thought, I'm going to go home and see if I can get closer to those numbers somehow.
Screenshot.
Screenshot.
There we go.
Nailed
this
it.
modern thing.
Yeah.
Screenshot.
He said if he really steps on it, he can hit it 220 if he needs to. His 7-iron.
Well, they can absolutely nuke it, but they rarely do that. You don't want irons to do it. The skill is to hit your irons the exact distance.
Right.
If you have a number, the skill is to land it on a number, not just muller the blooming thing.
Right.
Just to say, I hit a 7, so doesn't matter. You want to land. The skill is to say, I will land it 195, and the thing goes, you walk down an edge of divot at 194.5. That's more impressive to me.
Last question: what do you consider, if you look back, like the single best shot, greatest shot?
Well, I know that one. It's the 3-iron I hit at Muirfield 92. Because, that's Fore to win the Open. And I walked off the 17th green, and I knew that. I saw the scoreboards, and I got 4 to, and it's a blimmin' long walk from the 17th green to 18th tee. It's like 7 paces or something. And I said on every single pace, 4 to win, 4 to win, 4 to win, 4 to win. Honest, I did. And then I hit this tee shot down the fairway, and then I got, it was 3-iron, and it was good old Scottish weather. Had a right to left wind. I only had 197 to the hole, but back in that era, soft golf ball, all that sort of thing. That was a 3-iron shot, and I nailed it. And I took the paintwork off the flag as it went past it, about 20 feet behind it, 2-putted down, and I won the Open. So
amazing.
That's a different kind of pressure. That's when you know that you've stood up. That's about the ultimate, and the 18th hole, 4 to win. That is nice to know. It's like any sport, Tom Brady knows he can throw it, with 5 seconds to go, and Jordan or Steph Curry, now these guys,
right.
What they can do with 1 or 2 seconds to go. That's our 1 and 2 seconds. Last shot, 18th hole at a major. If you can draw it, just get the thing back. It's pretty darn good start.
I'm always amazed that when when you guys talk about these types of shots, and it's like you guys always know the exact yardage, the landing spot, the wind.
Yeah, we do. Well, that's our because you attach a memory to it. Obviously, I mean shots that happen. We've hit millions of shots, thousands in tournament shots, but obviously the really special ones that you attach a memory and emotion to it. Well, yeah, they're ingrained in us. They're really part of. You can relive those at any time of the day, which is a pretty darn cool thing.
It's amazing. Well, Sir Nick Faldo, the special Sir Nick takes off the armor, 1 p.m. on CBS this Saturday before the coverage. Keep up the great work out there. We appreciate it.
Enjoy it.
We appreciate Fallon.
All time voices in that booth, Nance and Faldo. I think it's got to be the best voice duo of all time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of any.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, we work pretty well together. We try to dovetail in between each other, and And you're learning all the time, as you know, TV and whatever. It's
right.
You got to trying to get better all the time and more concise. So it's a fun. I'm glad I'm up there because I never thought I would want to be up there, but to still be involved in golf in that sense, especially calling the majors, is really cool because you really get, because I can really feel. I sit there with sweaty palms, when they go on playoffs and all that sort of. Jim will make fun of me. See, how's your palms? And I'm going, yeah, look at me, I'm sweating up. I know what it means. When a guy's, exactly as described, when a guy comes to those last couple of holes, there's a knife edge between great shot winning and a bad shot costing you it. Fortunately, I've been there, so I can feel it.
And even some of those videos they've put out of you guys, when somebody has a chip to try to force a playoff and it barely lips out, and then they show those videos of you guys in the booth, and you're jumping up and down every time. It's like you're living and dying. So
yeah, we got it. Why not? You got to go with that's the other important thing. You've got to go with the. I'd say that was one of the goals I set for myself as a kid. Is in the towers. Go with what's happening out there. If a guy's hit a fantastic shot, you've got to scream and shout at it.
Right.
Nothing worse when an analyst goes, guy hits a 3-wood over the trees to 10 feet, and they go, well, it was a very nice 3-wood there from 2.
So boring.
And so, what? You don't want that, do you?
No.
You want somebody to scream and have a laugh, and that's why I like Gary. We have a nutty 5 minutes. When Gary goes off the charts, and we need that. We can't talk golf for 4 hours.
Your impersonations of people walking up to you or saying things are all time.
What's that?
It's like the way you impersonate other people. And you're like, well, you don't want to.
I do that again. I think I hope
amazing.
I hope they think it's a compliment because I do have accents all the time. All the South African boys when they go, "Oh, come in, how's it? You Mubioke," and I go straight into myself. And it's so funny. My very first week at ABC, Lang is putting, on the green. And of course, I go, yeah, well, Bernhard has just calculated the moisture density on the greens. You see? Monday, I get a phone call, and he says, we've got a Buick dealer, a German Buick dealer who's, do you know Bernhard? I said, well, of course I know Bernhard. I played Ryder Cup with him.
Right.
He said, we have one person who's complained at your... I said, you're joking. I said, what do we have to do? Well, we have to apologise. Oh, really? I said, so what does Robin Williams do? That was my argument. I said, what does Robin... I said, well, And so the funny bit about that was when I said, well, so you don't want me doing any German accent. So what when I do my Bob Tolman, I go, yeah, that's a great shot, that lad. Yeah, you can put that in the back of the hole. You did it. He said, what about that? Oh, you can do that one, he says.
You're like, well, what are we doing here?
I said, and I do my British ones. I like, I love to do, I do Colonel Bertie, of course.
Of course.
And I try to do a very British Colonel Bertie. And then I do Gaza from down the market, like that, mate. Terrific, Diamond Geezer. So he said, you can do those, but you can't make fun of Bernard and his German accent. I thought, okay. So that was moons ago. So
I love it.
I love it.
That's incredible.
Thanks for this hard, hard
we needed
liquor.
this.
You can call me a what is it, delicate pedal? Because I haven't touched this. I'm a little too soft for this. I'm too soft.
You're too soft for Scotch.
I'm too. Have you looked at me?
Hand it over here, lad. All that. Johnny Waste. Johnny Waste.
Frankie, stop talking about it. Give it
that
over here.
Stuff, jeez, I can't handle that stuff.
Yeah, sinful.
We'll go a whole nother round.
Put hairs on your chest.
Yeah, I don't have any hair.
You've got a chest.
No, I don't have a chest.
He doesn't have any hair on his face.
No, I don't. That stuff is radioactive to me. I can't touch it. No, it's stuff.
He doesn't even have a chest. He says.
Thing. All right.
All right. Sir Nick
thanks, guys. This was fun.
This was a great time. We very much appreciate it.
Thanks for coming to my restaurant.
I
got my dad sitting over there. I think this may be one of the top, maybe the top person to ever come into this restaurant.
Yeah.
Have you had a night in it before?
No.
First night.
Night in Borelli's
get a picture
restaurant.
On the wall of your
I
first
love
night.
it.
We need a night on the wall. Unbelievable.
The first night at Borelli's.
Oh.
Sir Nick Faldo. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. That was great.